We ended the last video with mention of the eschaton, that apocalypses usually have some sort of indication about the last times or final days. This means we probably should talk a little bit about perceptions of the future and revelation. Millenarian movements are movements where their adherents believe the end of the world is at hand, and they use signs to predict exactly when that end will happen and what we should do. Usually they believe that the end is nearby, and when it doesn't come, they've simply made an error in their calculations. The name millenarian comes from the 1,000-year reign of peace mentioned in Revelation. Generally, adherents to these movements are looking forward to a new earth, a perfect world, a utopia where life is perfect and that there is no crime, no strife, or no suffering. An alternate way of looking at the book of Revelation, as opposed to looking at it as a way to predict when the end will come, is to look at Revelation and apocalypses in general as if they were talking about events in their own historical context. So, for example, the beast in Revelation is the Roman Empire. The number 7 refers to the 7 hills in Rome. And in that case, they're not looking at predicting the future, but their main purpose is to give hope. When are books such as Revelation, which are designed to give hope, useful today? With things like the tsunami in Japan or 9/11? In essence, the whole point of apocalyptic is a focus on the question of evil. Why do good people suffer? The word theodicy is the technical term for trying to reconcile an all-good God with the fact that evil and horrible things and suffering still exists in the world. Theodicy. Theodicy. When Rome dominated Israel and the entire Hellenistic world, the old Deuteronomistic history that you'll learn about in Old Testament, where people are rewarded if they do good things and punished if they do bad things, broke down, and people needed some source of help. The answer to, if you're not rewarded in this life, is to talk about suffering in this life being rewarded by rewards in the afterlife. In heaven, God is in control and has already defeated evil. So the problem of theodicy moves from a problem in this world to a problem that is resolved in the next world or in heaven. In that case, readers of apocalypses are usually urged not to take up armed rebellion, but to execute passive resistance. They are encouraged to endure, to remain faithful, and they become martyrs or saints. What is the setting of the book of Revelation itself? It is often thought to be written in a time of persecution of Christians, but nailing that down is pretty hard. It might be during the reign of Domitian in 81 to 96, because he was known to persecute Jews. But it also may be during the rule of Nero, who committed suicide in 68. There is a legend that Nero either was resurrected or hadn't really died, called the Nero Redivius legend. He was an evil ruler, and frequently Revelation 13:3 is linked with Nero in some commentaries. The book of Revelation, though, uses the term Babylon, which after 70 CE, when the temple was destroyed, became a common word for Rome, and the 7 hills seem to reflect Revelation 17:7 through 9. Revelation itself contains no direct Old Testament quotes, but it does allude to several Old Testament passages. As a book, Revelation is considered to be part of the Johannine body of literature. The Gospel of John, the Johannine epistles, and Revelation are oftentimes studied together by scholars who specialize in the Johannine literature of the New Testament. It is written by a John, but there is no real sense that it is the same person who wrote the Gospel. It does include vocabulary associated with the Johannine cycle, such as I am sayings and life and beginning, yet some of the words aren't used in quite the same way that they are in the Gospel. The main example of this is the word martyr. Martyreo is a witness in the Gospel of John who usually testifies that Jesus' identity is the Son of God. So it's more of a witness in a legal sense, offering evidence or proof as to Jesus' identity as the Son of God. By contrast, by the time you get into Revelation, the word martyreo or martyr means somebody who suffers on behalf of the faith. Another unique aspect of the Apocalypse is it starts with 7 letters to 7 cities. And these 7 letters all have the same pattern of their content. There are 6 patterns of there are actually 7 patterns of content. So there are 7 letters to 7 cities, and they all have 7 parts to each letter. And these are the 7 parts of the letters to the 7 cities. A command to write to the church. They link Jesus with a metaphor or an image like the lamb. There is a statement, I know, about the situation of the church. Some churches are given praise and some churches are given blame. Each church receives a command. Each church receives a promise. And the final point is each church is given the message to hold fast or to endure. So that's not a lot of detail about the book of Revelation, but hopefully the information in both videos together, between the genre of the Apocalypse and a little taste of some of the characteristics of Revelation, will help serve as a pretty good introduction to this book. Thank you.